again, Sussex lies exposed.
It all began not in a palace, but at a security checkpoint at Heathrow Airport. While all luggage was being inspected by customs due to a smuggled shipment that had slipped through, no one expected Meghan's carry-on suitcase to be held back. Inside a tightly wrapped black pouch was a set of documents bearing the royal seal related to the royal estate and ancient castle in Scotland, property that the late Queen had once entrusted to Princess Catherine for management. What shocked even more, the documents showed that Catherine had agreed to transfer a portion of the property to Helena. Prince William immediately received a copy of the files, and from that moment, the storm erupted. Catherine, who had been quietly undergoing treatment and rarely appeared in public, firmly stated that she had never signed any such document. So who prepared that contract? And why was Meghan flying to Scotland at this exact time? Amid the red seals and suspicious signatures, one quiet question emerged. Was this a dangerous misunderstanding or a calculated move by a woman backed into a corner? Heathrow International Airport on an early February afternoon in 2026 was as bustling as ever. Announcements blared over the speakers, mixed with the rolling of suitcase wheels and cheerful chatter. For most passengers, it was just an ordinary day, but for airport security, today was a day of high alert. It started in the checked baggage screening area. A small shipment declared as personal business documents had passed the initial check. The latest X-ray machine detected irregular outlines. An alarm sounded. Staff immediately halted the conveyor belt and pulled out the suspicious suitcase. Sudden full inspection of Terminal 5, the order crackled over the radio. Experience showed that if one smuggling attempt got through, others were likely hiding. 15 minutes later, the expanded check reached all carry-on and checked luggage in the same zone. Customs officers in dark green uniforms moved swiftly among the belts, asking passengers to step aside, open suitcases, and unpack layer by layer. Clothing, cosmetics, bags, everything. The atmosphere grew heavy. Some grumbled irritably. Others stood in anxious silence. The PA system announced again, "Dear passengers, please cooperate. This is a random safety inspection." Amid the chaos, Meghan Markle's sleek black carry-on was pulled aside. She stood not far away, phone in hand, trying to compose herself. When an officer signaled her over, her heart pounded. The suitcase was placed on the inspection table. Deep inside the lining lay a small, thick black pouch. "Open the suitcase," the officer said curtly. Meghan approached, offering a polite smile. "Is there a problem? It's just personal documents." The officer didn't reply, motioning to unlock it. The lid popped open. A faint, fresh scent of paper drifted out. Gloved hands removed the black pouch, the kind used for important files. Inside was a thick stack, about 3 centimeters, bound with a red elastic. The cover page made everyone freeze. Yet here, the contract clearly stated Catherine had agreed to transfer a portion of ownership to Meghan Markle. The signature at the bottom, familiar strokes he had seen hundreds of times on family documents, left him stunned. "This can't be," William muttered, crumpling the page in his fist. He knew his wife too well. Catherine always placed royal duty above personal gain. She had never shown any intention of transferring it, especially not to Meghan, with whom relations had long been deeply fractured. Anger surged, mixed with profound worry. This wasn't just about property. It was a direct insult to the family, to the legacy he and Catherine were protecting. He rose and walked quickly down the corridor to Catherine's private room. She was resting on the sofa after a long day with limited engagements due to her ongoing recovery from cancer treatment. Since 2024, she had undergone major surgery and chemotherapy. By early 2025, she announced remission. She appeared less in public now, prioritizing family and health, which had temporarily dispersed oversight of certain royal assets. William sat beside her, gently placing his hand over hers. "Look at this," he said in a low, tense voice, handing her the documents. Catherine flipped through the pages, eyes widening in shock, then narrowing in fury. I never signed anything like this. This signature, it looks like mine, but I've never seen this contract." She paused at the final page, pointing. "It's forged, William. Someone copied my signature." William nodded, feeling the deep insult in her tone. Catherine had always been resilient, but this time he saw her tremble, not from fear, but from being exploited while she was vulnerable. "I know you would never do this. This is grandmother's legacy, ours, our children's." She took a deep breath, regaining composure. "I want to investigate this myself. I can't let it continue. Have the Royal Investigation Team assist me." Her voice was firm, eyes shining with determination. "Not just for me, but for our family, for the trust the public still places in the monarchy." William held her tighter, admiring the inner strength he always respected. "I'll be right here with you. We'll get to the bottom of it." He
People who
immediately
know him
called
say
the head of royal security and legal affairs, ordering an emergency meeting the next morning. The palace atmosphere shifted abruptly. Phones rang non-stop, staff moved quickly, and closed-door discussions began. William couldn't sit still. He knew a larger conspiracy lay behind this forged contract, possibly tied to old royal family fractures. His thoughts turned to Meghan, once part of the family, now seemingly on the other side. Suspicion rose, but he restrained it, focusing on evidence. Catherine, beside him, was thinking the same. She felt betrayed, but above all, determined to protect what belonged to their children. The next morning, the investigation team began work. They examined seals, dates, and system access logs. William and Catherine followed every step, filled with anxiety, yet resolute. This was no longer just a property issue. It was a test of the monarchy's unity in a sensitive time. Rewind to late 2025. Inside a luxurious villa in Montecito, California, Meghan Markle faced a financial nightmare she never imagined. Warm sunlight streamed through large windows, but it couldn't dispel the darkness enveloping her office. On the desk were glaring red financial statements, personal investment projects, bleeding money. Her lifestyle brand, as ever, on which she pinned great hopes, shut down in 2025 with estimated losses of $12 million. Netflix did not renew the $100 million contract, and Archwell Foundation kept reporting deficits, expenses far outstripping donations, forcing staff cuts and restructuring. Meghan sat staring at the computer screen, cold coffee in hand. Anxiety turned to rage. "I tried my best," she whispered to herself, voice trembling. She had believed leaving the royal family would bring financial freedom and independent fame. Reality was brutal. Annual security costs in the millions, staff turnover, and projects failing to capture audiences. She felt trapped, chasing a dream that was evaporating. Pressure mounted, especially thinking of her children's future and the lifestyle they were accustomed to. Then the idea struck: the royal estate in Scotland, vast highlands land with an ancient castle and hunting forests of immense value, entrusted by the late Queen to Catherine's management. Meghan knew Catherine had been less visible lately due to health, post-surgery, and cancer treatment since 2024, leaving royal asset oversight temporarily fragmented. It was the perfect vulnerability. With a heart full of ambition mixed with desperation, Meghan acted in secret. She hired a trusted private lawyer in Los Angeles, experienced in sensitive, high-profile cases. "I need a flawless transfer agreement," she said over an encrypted call, voice low and determined. "No traces left behind." The lawyer introduced a signature forgery specialist, someone skilled at replicating handwriting from public documents with high precision. They worked in shadows, scanned Catherine's signatures from old papers, adjusted to match recent style, printed on premium paper with sophisticated fake royal seals. Meghan monitored every step, heart racing with excitement. She envisioned the future. Partial ownership shifted to her personal fund, money flowing in to rescue projects, even expand her own empire. "This is my last chance," she told herself, feeling the thrill of playing the biggest hand of her life. The contract was finalized, the forged original carefully stored in a black pouch, ready for the flight to Scotland to complete final local registration, a step she believed undetectable. She planned meticulously: fly via Heathrow, avoid direct U.S. flights to reduce suspicion, then swiftly finish procedures before anyone noticed. Confidence surged. She had survived so many storms, royal life to separation, and now she would save herself. A faint smile crossed her lips as she closed the suitcase, tucking the black pouch deep inside the lining. But fate had other plans. The random, expanded inspection at Heathrow, triggered only by a small smuggled shipment that slipped through, caused the scanner to flag the unusually thick black pouch. When customs opened it, the bright red royal seal appeared, and everything collapsed. Meghan, standing amid the chaos, felt icy fear spread through her body. Her heart clenched, hands shook. A plan so perfectly calculated, undone by one random check. She tried to stay calm, but deep down she knew the truth was emerging, and the consequences would be unavoidable. The next morning at Kensington Palace, Catherine immediately ordered the Royal Legal Department to check the original records stored in the secure archive at Windsor Castle. A team of experts, lawyers, document examiners, and digital forensic specialists was urgently assembled. They worked in a sealed room under maximum security: surveillance cameras, dual authentication access, and real-time logging of every document. The signature expert delivered the first conclusion. He compared the forged signature against genuine samples from Catherine's recent letters, public documents, and internal files. "This is clearly digitally reproduced," he said, pointing at the magnified screen. "It's not handwritten. It was recreated from scanned images." Catherine listened, fingers tightening on the chair arm. Anger surged, not just at the forgery, but at someone exploiting her image while she battled illness.
Next came the internal access system review. Digital forensics traced the login history for the Royal Estate Archive. They discovered an unauthorized login from California, precisely the Montecito area where Meghan and Harry resided. The timestamp matched the period when Catherine was least active publicly, prioritizing recovery. A cold shiver ran down Catherine's spine. This was no longer suspicion. It was concrete evidence of intrusion. She immediately coordinated with Scottish authorities to freeze all transactions related to the Highlands Royal Estate. The property was a tightly controlled royal heritage. Any transfer required high-level approval.
Media storm.
An emergency freeze order was issued. No transactions allowed. All related records locked. Local agencies alerted to monitor any confirmation attempts from Meghan's side. William stood beside his wife, hand resting lightly on her shoulder. "You're doing brilliantly," he whispered, voice full of pride. Catherine nodded, but complex emotions churned inside. Fury at being used, pain at deepening family rifts, determination to protect what belonged to their children. She refused to let this undermine public trust in the monarchy, especially while the nation watched her recovery. The investigation accelerated. The legal team requested data from digital service providers, tracing any payments to forgery experts. Catherine joined meetings directly, asking sharp questions, ensuring no detail was missed. "We need irrefutable evidence," she emphasized. By day's end, the pieces fit together: forged signature confirmation, unauthorized access, Scottish freeze order, and a solid chain of logic. Catherine stood and looked out the window at the light snow falling over the Kensington Gardens. She felt some relief, not victory, but timely action. Yet she knew the battle wasn't over. Meghan remained at Heathrow, and the team needed more evidence from her personal devices to complete the link. Back in the present, Inside the private waiting room at Terminal 5, Heathrow, the air felt stifling, despite full air conditioning. Meghan Markle sat on a hard leather chair, clutching her phone, staring at the dark screen. Signal temporarily blocked per security rules. Over 2 hours had passed since the suitcase was detained, and she knew time was against her. Initial fear had turned into controlled panic. She had to act before airport police seized her devices. She took a deep breath, opened her secure encrypted messaging app and the channel with her Los Angeles lawyer. Trembling fingers typed quickly. Cancel immediately. Delete draft contract, all correspondence, and every related file.
Leave no trace. Do it now. Across the ocean, the lawyer received the message. Heart pounding, he rushed to his computer, wiping the folder containing draft-forged contracts, signature editing files, and email history with the forger. Done, he replied curtly, then deleted the chat history too. Meghan exhaled in temporary relief, feeling as if she had grabbed a lifeline. She hurriedly deleted a few messages on her personal phone, then moved to wipe linked cloud data, screenshots, and notes about the Scotland plan. Everything happened in silence, only her heartbeat thundering in her ears. But Meghan didn't know everything was still within reach. The Scottish legal storage system, where she had sent a copy to schedule ownership confirmation, remained intact. Scotland's land registry had received an email from her spoofed address weeks earlier, with the forged PDF attached to book an appointment. That copy was still automatically stored in their secure system. Meanwhile, the Royal Investigation Team, working closely with airport police and Scottish justice authorities, moved swiftly. While Meghan was detained, her suitcase and phone were sealed, pending formal seizure. But investigators didn't wait. They obtained an emergency court order to recover what they could. Digital forensics experts worked through the night, restoring deleted files from the phone. Though Meghan had wiped them, data doesn't vanish instantly. After many hours, they found traces, emails to the lawyer, and a $50,000 bank transfer to the forgery expert via an offshore account. In the waiting room, Meghan sensed a shift. Security moved more frequently, and phones rang constantly outside. She tried calling her lawyer again. Line was busy. Fear mingled with belated regret. "I was too confident," she whispered, eyes red. The once perfect plan, exploiting Catherine's health vulnerability, forging the signature, flying to Scotland to finalize, was shattered by one random check. She imagined interrogation, exposure, and the reputation she built in America collapsing entirely. Meghan curled up, arms around her knees. She knew the lawyer's call wouldn't come. He was likely protecting himself now. Despair surged. She once thought she could save herself, but now evidence was piling up. Airport police entered holding a seizure warrant. "We need your phone and tablet," they said, politely but firmly. Meghan handed them over, hands shaking. She knew they would find something, even though traces had been deleted. In that moment, she clearly felt the consequences, not just lost financial opportunity, but possibly honor and freedom. The evidence hunt was reaching its climax, and for the first time, Meghan felt she controlled nothing. Just 4 days after the Heathrow incident, the atmosphere at Kensington Palace was so tense it was palpable. All-night closed-door meetings, non-stop phone calls, and the Royal Investigation Team, together with Scottish authorities, completed the final report. Catherine sat at the head of the large conference table, face calm but eyes sharp. William was beside her, hand gently resting on hers as silent support. Before them lay a thick file of evidence, a confirmed forged signature, unauthorized access from California, payment to the forger, and the copied documents. The investigation head stood. His voice was low but clear. All evidence points to a deliberate conspiracy, forging royal documents to seize ownership of the Highlands estate in Scotland. The contract is 100% fabricated. No genuine signature from Princess Catherine. Clear signs of financial fraud motivated by Meghan Markle's investment losses. Catherine drew a deep breath, relief mixed with pain. She had hoped it was a misunderstanding, but the evidence was undeniable. "Thank you," she said firmly. "Now we must report to His Majesty and proceed with necessary legal steps." That afternoon, Catherine and William presented the full case to King Charles III at Clarence House. The king, accustomed to family turbulence, still showed deep disappointment.
Then sighed heavily. "I never thought it would go this far," he said, voice heavy with sorrow. "But justice must be served, no exceptions." Police launched proceedings against Meghan Markle for charges including forgery of state documents, conspiracy to defraud royal property, and financial fraud. Meghan, now released on condition she remain in the UK and surrender her passport, received an urgent call from her lawyer. Sitting in a heavily guarded hotel room, hands trembling, she listened. "They have irrefutable evidence," he said anxiously. "We can negotiate reduced charges, but the Sussex titles will be suspended immediately pending trial." Meghan was silent for a long time, then whispered, "I made a terrible mistake." Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from fear of prison, but from realizing ambition had driven her into an abyss, far from everything she once had. Within 48 hours, an official statement from Buckingham Palace was released. Due to serious allegations concerning fraud involving royal documents, the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, held by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, are temporarily suspended pending the outcome of legal proceedings. The royal family will fully cooperate with authorities. The news spread like wildfire. Major global outlets covered it extensively. Social media exploded with debate. Some defended Meghan. Many harshly criticized her actions. Catherine, seeing the rising public storm, chose transparency. The next day, she released a detailed public report on royal estate management, clearly listing origins, ownership, and oversight procedures for properties, including the Scottish land. The report stressed the monarchy is committed to transparency and accountability to the public. Any change in ownership requires a strict process and high-level approval. She appeared in a short video, voice warm yet resolute. "We have been through difficult times, but trust and truth will always be our foundation."